Thanks, Freak. And things are looking pretty scary right now for Curse, regardless of the fact that the series is 2-2.
Yeah, I think that LMQ look back to the LMQ that we've grown to know and love over the season, and I think it's the most commanding performance that we've ever seen in an early game. That was the biggest gold lead at 20 we have seen all summer long.
We pointed it out in the previous segments that No Name needed to step up his shot calling, but just in general that LMQ did need to get back to that point of being on the same page where we're used to seeing them engage a team fight and everyone goes in. We saw that displayed in this game with some of the early fights that gave them such a huge gold lead. Although I want to look at the mid lane, though, because probably you had mentioned that one of the strategies LMQ might consider going back to is get Xiao Zhao onto one of those farm-heavy, team fight-oriented champions. It's exactly what they did by putting him on Ori.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the matchup, like, Voyboy's always been known as an assassin player, and then Xiao Zhao's always known as a big farmer and team fighter.
Yeah.
So kind of matching, with Zed and TF, like assassin versus assassin mid, Voyboy's going to win that because that's where his strengths are. But you see Xiao Zhao on Yasuo or on Ori, he gets huge CS leads and big team fight plays, and I think that's what they need to keep going on for.
Yeah, and I remember watching him through Challenger. Every time he's on Orianna, it was just crazy. And then when he plays Twisted Fate, it's like, okay, when he gets his Zhonya's, then he can make a play. But then when he was in the LCS and playing Twisted Fate, it still wasn't as explosive.
Something else that I want to touch on is what Kobe pointed out way back at the beginning of the game with the Maokai pick into the Yasuo as being one of those champions that either works great with Yasuo or against. And we saw that displayed in this game as Voyboy was kind of rendered useless in the team fights.
Yeah, I think the root on him really hurt them, but I also think the fact that they first round picked the Braum as well as the Maokai was huge because you can't give Curse, Yasuo, and Braum again. It would completely shut down Vasili's damage output.
Let's take a quick peek at one of those fights where Maokai did have a fantastic engage onto the Yasuo. We're going to go about 14 minutes into the game. On the bottom side of the map, Zyrene, take it away.
Yeah, so this pink ward right here, they actually pulled them all the way in because they created a power vacuum. Kopp is on the bottom side poking. LMQ made a feint towards him, and then Ackerman went all the way around, and he engages here on Curse. We're going to roll the clip out. He twisted advances onto Voyboy with a flash. Then the Orianna ball comes through off of the knockup, so Voyboy has no chance to get out of this shockwave, and they instantaneously blow him up. Meanwhile, Quas, he was top. He got the top lane turret, but then he TPs into the fight. But by the time that he actually comes through, Voyboy's already dead. So his knockup is not going to help them out. He isn't able to get the wild growth off.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kopp wasn't actually in that fight either.
Yeah.
Like, Kopp was too far. And
yeah,
the LMQ engaging on Yasuo was perfect. If they hadn't done that, the fight would have been really rocky, but they knew they had to get to Yasuo. But looking at Curse, the Dragon was uncontestable. They didn't have correct vision on it, and they had a terrible team, or a scary team fight. Like, Orianna is, come on, menacing. You don't want to deal with that. They actually had positional advantage over LMQ, though, and I think they tunneled too hard on the Dragon again. If you watched, Quas was top lane 1v0, and they actually were hovering around mid. Curse was hovering around mid, so if they decided to push mid and push top simultaneously, what would LMQ do? But they weren't close enough to get to mid turret, and then they'd have to back to get to the top tier 2. So where was, Curse's decision-making? They needed to quickly decide, we shouldn't fight this, let's just go for turrets.
If they went mid, though, Kopp was so far removed from the fight that I think LMQ would have barreled down the mid and tried to flank around them as a 5 versus 3.
I mean,
still try to force
I guess you do still have the option, though, there to go for that 1-3-1 and say, fine, you want to go 5 mid,
if
we'll
Kopp
go
went bottom at that point.
Yeah, we'll go 1-0 in the side lanes. The one tiny little nitpicky thing to point out there is the fact that Voyboy didn't have vision on the Maokai in that that banana bush down to river as LMQ had it pink warded. So it was a pretty perfect ward placement in order to allow for Ackerman to have that flash engage.
This is actually the second time Ackerman does a little sneaky hide in the bush thing. I guess it's a tree thing. He did it earlier in that game where he sits in a bush and Elise would walk by and you just twist advance onto Elise and give Yasuo a free ult. Oh, that was last game. But he knows how to do these like sneaky, I'm going to sit in a bush and you won't know I'm here kind of thing.
And then, of course, we have to talk about the 15-minute Baron call. That came right off the back end of that fight.
Man, when that happened, I was like, yeah, it's LMQ. This is the LMQ that we've seen pretty much all season long where they were in contention for that first place majority of the weeks of the summer split. They love to force things, but that was a very calculated play. There was no retaliation possible. TP was used by Quas. He couldn't use it to get into that fight. Only Cop was up. He didn't do enough damage to poke, and they ended up getting 5 people in the pit with 5 people with the buff at 15, 16 minutes.
Of course, there is a fair amount of good fortune that comes along with having a huge team fight right at 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And it, you know, just so happens that, oh, there's the Baron. We're going to take that now. Gives you a huge gold lead. But probably I want to kind of roll this into the final question here, which is that earlier in the series, LMQ had some leads. They gave them back. This time, though, they displayed a lot of control with their gold lead, and they just, you know, they snowballed it, if you will, into an even greater one and closed this game out pretty early. Is it something that they're going to be able to repeat one more time, or is Curse going to put a stop to it?
I think right now they have a huge just mental advantage over Curse. Like, yeah, they stopped their momentum before that last game, and now they basically crushed them this game. That 15-minute Baron is just weighs hard on your soul. So if Curse is able to kind of like shake it and kind of reset and be like, this is the game we need to be at Worlds. This is the game to break our destiny. If they can get to that point and get super hyped up, I think Curse can take it. But right now, LMQ definitely has the advantage going into this game.
Well, this series is making out to be a fantastic one. LMQ are on a roll, and the series is tied up. And the pressure couldn't be higher as we prepare for Game 5 between LMQ and Curse. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss how this one ends.
Flash engage, the multi-man knock-up, and the shockwave hits as well. Boy dies before he can act at all. First blood to Ackerman. No Name gets out safe. Dominate cannot chase that kill down. Uh-oh, here he comes. The fight is engaged. Shockwave picks up one.
LMQ as well.
Shockwave in. There's the engage. In comes No Name. Health bar so low. Quas dies. All will dominate. Forced one away as Boy also drops 2 for 0. Into the base they go. Xpecial will make a third.